Hello, Elk Grove, and welcome to another student-produced episode of
EGU News.
I'm Nina.
And I'm Taylor. EGU News will be remotely produced by the TJTV students at Toby Johnson Middle School this week.
Have you heard about the 2020 census before?
The 2020 census counts every person living in the United States and 5 U.S. territories. In mid-March, homes across the country would receive an invitation to complete the census online.
When you respond, you will tell them where you live as of April 1st, 2020. We won't be asking about social security numbers or bank account numbers. The census shows a glance in our nation from who we are and where we live.
What type of questions would the census be asking?
The census asks you how many people are staying at each address. It would ask each person's gender, name, age, date of birth, relationship, and race. They would also be asking if you're renting or owning a unit.
Why is the census so important to people?
The 2020 census ensures funding for schools, hospitals, and fire departments. It also determines the number of seats each state has in the House of Representatives. Lawmakers, business owners, and many others would use the census to make decisions.
The census counts everyone who lives in your home, related or not, because where there are more people, there are more needs. This count is mandated by the Constitution and is run by the U.S. Census Bureau, a nonpartisan government agency.
What is the result of filling out the census?
The results would show where different places in the country need new roads, new clinics, new schools, and many other services. This would inform where federal funding would be put in place for more than 100 programs.
Has your family gone to the store and found out that there was no more toilet paper to buy?
Many people are purchasing excessive amounts of toilet paper because of the current pandemic, COVID-19.
Let's go to Pratham Rangwala from Toby Johnson Middle School for more on how to ration how much toilet paper you buy while also making sure you buy enough.
Because of the new COVID-19 disease, people all over the world are stocking up on a very specific necessity, toilet paper. Software developer Ben Sassoon created a calculator to tell you how much toilet paper you actually need. Let's take a look at how to use this. To get to this simple tool, go to howmuchtoiletpaper.com. First, use the slider for how many rolls of toilet paper you have. Second, use the other slider for the number of visits per person per day. If you want to be even more precise, hit the Advanced Options button to include settings like sheets per roll and the number of people living in your household. Now you can see how much excess toilet paper you have. This simple tool tells you how much more toilet paper you have than you need. It also tells the people who empty the shelves that they are hoarding way too much toilet paper and not let others who need toilet paper buy it. Reporting for TJTV, I'm Pratham Rangwala.
Thanks, Pratham. Now your families can make sure they're purchasing the right amount of toilet paper during COVID-19. Let's go to Zanthi Pinkerton and Sandeep Dosanjh for a look at today's district updates.
Thank you, Taylor. I'm Santhi Pinkerton.
And I'm Sandeep Dosanjh. So Zanthi, I heard you had a one-on-one interview with our superintendent today.
Yes, so if you don't mind, before we provide our district update, let's hear from our superintendent, Chris Hoffman. He's talking here today about the decision that went into closing the district schools. He talks about the distance learning plan and the progress being made, as well as he talks to what's on the horizon, final grades, graduation, and he even talked about summer school.
All right, so today we are honored to have Superintendent Christopher Hoffman with us. He's going to give us, we're going to talk to him, ask him a few questions, and give us a brief overview of the progress that's been made so far in Elk Grove Unified. So, hello, Superintendent Hoffman, how are you?
Hello, Ms. Pinkerton, good to see you.
Great. So let's dive right into this. Elk Grove Unified was the first district to close in California, and now the district is transitioning to distance learning. First, what were some of the key considerations for closing the district?
Yeah, the initial decision to close the district was really about the health and safety of our kids and staff. There was a couple of significant issues too detailed to get into in this interview, but the decision originally was to just give us a little bit more time to be able to make sure that it was safe for our kids and staff to return to school. So we were working with our local county health department in making sure we had the information we needed to move forward with school as we traditionally knew it.
Okay, excellent. So, okay, so the district was closed, and now there's distance learning that's in the works. So how will distance learning play a role now?
Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. We've been working with our leaders across the district, also with our 7 labor organizations and leadership of each of those groups, and really putting together what we think is a comprehensive and a learning system that's going to be remotely provided. And we're excited about it, but it's also a huge lift to get all the work done that needs to be done to make this thing viable for each of our students across the district.
Mm-hmm. Hey, wow. And you feel like there's great progress that's happening?
Yeah, we've had to, get our curriculum ready to go. We're starting tomorrow with the distribution of Chromebooks to students across the district. Internet connectivity is critical, and staff training is another just monumental task that we're taking on. Our teachers are really good and at what they have been trained to do, but to do this work in an online, in a remote distance learning modality is very different, and we're taking the time to make sure our staff can effectively do this work with our kids. So yeah, big task, but great work has been done. A lot of work still remains though.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. I know a lot of parents are going to be happy out there, and they were happy as soon as they found out about the plan to move forward into distance learning and getting students back into essentially classrooms.
Right. Yeah.
So what's the plan then? Will seniors graduate? Will students get final grades? Can you explain that a little bit?
Right. Yeah. So make sure we're very clear about this. We're absolutely committed to completing the 1920 school year and complete the school year for all of our kids, but with an obvious eye on our seniors and the class of 2020. So we will, in this 6-week session that we'll put in place, it will close out the school year for our secondary students, our middle and high school students. They'll finish the final quarter or final term. And then our elementary kids will finish their final trimester. And they will get the key learnings and also the credits that they need in order to promote on to the next grade, and for our seniors to matriculate onto college or wherever else that they're headed to after they leave us. So absolutely committed to completing the school year. And that's the whole point of putting this mechanism in place that we're doing now.
Excellent, excellent. So now the big question is from a lot of seniors is, what about graduation?
Yeah, graduation's on our minds. We're trying to get this, the actual learning model up and running right now, but know that that's swirling in the back of our minds. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but what I can guarantee is we're going to do some celebration of our class of 2020. We're super proud of them, and we know that they've been looking forward to this their entire lives, and families included. So it will be different. I fully believe that, but it will be no less grandiose. We're looking to make sure we celebrate our seniors. So it's on our minds. It's not the first thing we're working on, but it's there, and we will work on it for sure.
Thank you, Superintendent. So just a couple more questions. One other question that's come up from parents is some concern about summer school or questions about summer school. Will the district be having summer school for students who need to make up with?
Yeah, summer school is a critical part of what we do, and so we'll absolutely have to have a summer school. I believe it will be virtual or a distance learning model. We have kids that need to make up credits for a course for whatever reason in their career. They need to make up those courses. We need to keep learning going for many of our elementary schools, so we don't have gaps in learning, and over the summer that's a challenge for us. But we also have kids, especially at the secondary level, that need to complete courses in the summer to free up space in their schedule for the upcoming year that allow them to take career technical education courses, participate in band, participate in AVID, a wide variety of programs that we have. So the summer session will be critical. And again, We don't have all the details inked out yet. Still, the getting this first 6 weeks up and running is our first priority. But summer school will certainly be part of what we offer moving forward.
Sounds like a great, bright future then for learning moving forward, even
We'll
in
be busy.
even in a new environment. So, speaking about moving forward, what are you hopeful for continuing on?
Well, my first hope is that our kids, our families, and our staff are safe and healthy. It's the reason we made the decision in the first place, and that's still at the forefront of our minds. You know, I'm an educator, former teacher, and education is obviously at the heart of what I do and what I chose to do for a living. But the health and safety of our kids and staff and families is number one. The second hope is that we'll be a better learning organization when this is all done. All of the professional development that we're doing with our staff isn't going to go away. Our kids are going to experience curriculum in a new way. Our teachers are going to engage in curriculum in a new way. And my hope is that long term, that's going to be a benefit to us as a learning organization. And we won't see learning the same way. And I think we'll be able to better utilize and take advantage of what technology offers us. So I think we'll be a better learning organization in the end. I'm very hopeful of that.
It's wonderful to hear, especially given the current conditions. So maybe there's a silver lining to this.
Silver lining.
Moving forward. So thank you. So last question, and we really want to thank you for the time that you've taken to be able to talk to our EGU News audience. But just to wrap this up, do you have anything else that you want to add and tell people out there?
Yeah, so first thing is I want to say thank you to the Elk Grove Unified team. There have been, literally hundreds of people that have been working over this past few weeks. Many of them are providing food services to thousands of families. Big deal. Obviously, dozens of people have been working on the plan for our distance learning, and there's also many other critical jobs that have been done over the past weeks to keep an organization of our size still up and running between payroll and human resources and a number of other important departments. It's a big deal. So big kudos to our team. I couldn't be more proud to be part of the Elk Grove Unified School District and to call these people teammates. So very proud of that. Secondly, thank you to the parents and kids. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your eagerness to get back to learning. Thanks for protecting each other and keeping each other safe during this time. I really do look forward to getting back to normal, and maybe it's a slightly new normal moving forward, but I do look forward to normal. But in the meantime, I just wish everybody to be healthy and safe and get ready for the learning that's coming. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be new. And we're really excited about being able to bring that to everyone. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Superintendent Hoffman, for not only giving us a background and the direction where things are headed, but also for having such a optimistic view on where we're heading and the growth and the things that we've learned and gained already. So it's wonderful. Have a wonderful day. We know you're busy, and we thank you for the time that you've taken, and get back in there.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Great interview, Zanthi, and very informative. Thank you. Yesterday, we announced that starting April 1st through April 9th, we will check out Chromebooks to students who need a device for distance learning. An overview of that schedule will follow.
Yeah, so some parents have also asked what a typical distance learning schedule will look like so they can plan their schedules at home. And the answer to this can be somewhat complex depending on the age and needs of the student. But what's important to know is that distance learning is flexible.
So teachers are still preparing lessons and creating content that lends towards distance learning and increased student independence and self-discipline. Teachers will be planning and sharing check-in times and office hours to monitor student progress.
That's right. And I want to emphasize what you just said about the fact that what teachers are doing are preparing those lessons that, help a student increase their independence and their self-discipline. So this is a
great new opportunity for both our students as well as our staff. So typically, I'll explain a little bit. An elementary school student will focus on about 5 different subjects, and recommendations on the length of study per subject will be given by the teacher. Similarly, a secondary student will focus on their course schedule, and a recommendation for the length of study will also be given to them from their teachers into how long to study for each course.
Got it. So all students will be encouraged to do a minimum of 30 minutes of physical activity per day, and physical activity ideas at home will be offered and mindful of current conditions. More information for parents and resources to prepare for distance learning will be shared soon. So stay tuned for your
Absolutely.
updates.
Yeah, and that physical activity is also, it's one of those things that's really important, especially if you're inside. Given the situation we're in, it's always good to get a little bit of movement going on. And it could be fun too for the whole family. So in the meantime, we ask everyone to check out www.egusd.net/COVID-19 for information about the enrichment and fun activities we have. We're trying to add to them every day. I know we emphasized last time the AP review coursework that's available, the link to that, and also the Khan Academy. So the other part too is to also look for all of the social and emotional learning opportunities and activities you can do right at home that help build student self-discipline, self-awareness, and those skills that they need to interact socially as well as in an academic environment. Those social and emotional learning opportunities are really, really important, especially given the crisis that we're in right now.
And Zanthi, we can't forget to mention that we have drive-through grab-and-go meal services that take place from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 37 schools. A list of all sites is available at www.egusd.net.
Wonderful. All right, yeah, make sure you pick up those meals. And I heard they're going gangbusters out there. People are really appreciating meals and the services that are being provided. So now here's a rundown of the Chromebook checkout process. So this is another service that we're providing right now for students and for families. And remember, we ask families to only check out the EGUSD Chromebook if you really, really need one. And that the Chromebooks will require internet connectivity in order for them to work.
So quick question, Zanthi. I had a parent today ask us on Facebook if there are 3 students in that family, will they all need to do their coursework at the same time during regular school day hours? Mm-hmm. Or can they do it throughout the day in order to utilize the one family computer available in the home already?
Right. Well, in terms of the Chromebook just itself, if a family really needs Chromebooks for their students, we're asking that, make sure that there's a need there, and it's one Chromebook per student. So that's one thing important to remember. The other part, when we're talking about that typical schedule, we talked about it being flexible and that you're going to have student independent learning as well as, that need for self-discipline to get through coursework. So we're going to expand on that a little bit. I talked to our folks in our curriculum department, and they're going to work on a way to try to help parents understand what a typical day will look like for students. A lot of it really depends on the age of the student, if they're an elementary school student or if they're a secondary student. But teachers are developing that. They're developing their plans to do their check-ins and office hour kinds of things. So more to come on that.
Perfect. Thank you, Zanthi. So now let's get back to the Chromebook process. So there are 5 main points that we want to reiterate. Number 1, go to your EGUSD residential high school for Chromebook checkout. Okay, we'll list those out in a little bit. Number 2.
Sandeep, not to bother, sorry, can you explain residential? Some people don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say that you live close to let's say your students are of elementary school age and you live close to Mary Tsukamoto Elementary School. So that's where your resident elementary school is, where your resident school is. So Mary Tsukamoto feeds into Sheldon High School. So the Chromebook pickup location would be Sheldon High School during specific day and specific times that we'll mention in a little bit.
Okay, so even if my child attends, let's say, a school like Elk Grove Elementary School, but my resident high school is Sheldon High School, I should go to Sheldon High School.
Yes.
Whichever
school that you're nearest is your residential school. And then whatever that residential house would technically go to, so let's say they are living by Mary Tsukamoto Elementary School and their elementary aged child is supposed to be going to Mary Tsukamoto, but for some reason had to be offsite or offloaded to a different school, they would still go to Mary Tsukamoto's feeder high school, which is Sheldon High School, in order to pick up that Chromebook if they need one.
Thank you.
Great question. So number one, go to the residential high school for Chromebook checkout. Number two, in order to be mindful of the healthy and safety requirements, we are going to do Chromebook checkout through a drive-through process to adhere to the social distancing guidelines. And number three, students must be present in the car to receive the device. And that's going to be one per student maximum. And it's crucial to remember this part. Number four main point is all checkouts will be made based off of student ID numbers per student. So make sure you have that student ID card. And if you don't have the student ID card, you can find the student ID number by grabbing that report card that we mentioned yesterday, or even if they have a login to Student View, that login is typically their email address has the ID number in the beginning part of that email address. So as long as you have the ID number, then the student will be able to check out a Chromebook.
Okay, wonderful.
So number five is all of the locations. So the regional high schools that will be handling the Chromebook checkout include Casunas Oaks High School, Elk Grove High School, Florin High School, Franklin High School, Laguna Creek High School, Monterey Trail High School, Pleasant Grove High School, Sheldon High School, and Valley High School.
You know, and I think too, there's one other really important thing that a lot of parents I know I had talked to were asking about, and that's how to get the student to school. I know some parents were worried they're essential workers, and how do they bring their students to school? So I think another important point that we need to really make sure is that it's a parent, a guardian, and or a relative who can bring the students in the car to do the checkout. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the parent if they're working, especially if they're an essential worker. It can be a guardian, it can be a relative who can go with those students to go and check out those Chromebooks. So thank you for those main points. Appreciate it. Regarding alternative education students, they are going to be reporting to the following locations depending on their school. So here's the rundown. If you are a William Daylor High School student, your checkout's going to be Florin High School. If you're a Calvin High School student, your checkout school is going to be Monterey Trail High School. And if you're at Las Flores and attending Rio Casadero High School, your checkout school will be Valley High School. And a little side note for Jesse Baker and Elk Grove Charter students, your schools will be contacting you and letting you know what their process is going to be for accessing devices.
Great. Now let's talk a little bit more about the Chromebook distribution process. So for secondary students, which are students in grades 7th through 12th grades, students with the last name starting with A through L will start the check-in process between 9 to 1 p.m. Okay? Students with the last name starting with M through Z, they will be able to check out a Chromebook between 1:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. Okay? So trying to explain it a little bit more clearer, we broke it down a little bit further. So April 1st, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 1st, grades 11th and 12th will be coming to their regional high school to check out a Chromebook, okay? April 2nd, it's grades 9th and 10th grades, okay? And then finally, April 3rd will be grades 7th and 8th. So middle school students will be all on April 3rd.
Okay, got
This
it.
is only for secondary students, Santi. So if you have multiple students in secondary, please come to your oldest child's time slot. But if you have a child in secondary and a child in elementary, pick according to the secondary student's schedule. Then you're going to need to come back a separate day to return to the regional high school for the elementary students' time slot.
Got it. So my last name is Pinkerton, your last name is Dosange. So you're going to go to the 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock time period, depending on your grade level, whatever day. And I would go to a 1:30 to 6 p.m. time slot, again, depending on my grade, whichever day. Okay.
However, if you and I are, have the same parents, then we would go to the oldest person's pickup time.
Now, who's oldest?
I did not say who. Just want to point that out. So let's go to elementary school.
All right, very good. So elementary school, which is grades 1 through 6. Students, again, with last names with A through L, those hours will be between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. And for students with last names starting with N through Z, you're going to be going for the checkout process from 1:30 to 6 p.m. The dates now, for April 7th, students in grades 5th and 6th, you have April 7th, that's your day. For students for April 8th, those are for grades 3 and 4. And for April 9th, that's for grades 1 and 2. And again, based on your location, your residential school, the high school that you're going to go to, that's the school you go to. And then just pay attention to the A through L, 9 to 1. And if your last name is M through Z, you're from 1:30 to 6. So the schedules that I just talked about are only for elementary school students. And like we talked about earlier, if you have multiple students in elementary school, please come at your oldest child's time slot. So if you have a kid in 6th grade, that's the oldest child, you want to come during their time slot. So that means I could go as early as April 7th with all of my students. We all have the same last name to go get our Chromebooks.
Thank you, Santi. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about internet connectivity. If you do not have internet connectivity at home, Elk Grove Unified is working with T-Mobile to acquire hotspots for families that need it. These hotspots will only work with EGUSD issued Chromebooks. Providers offering discounts internet services for qualifying families include Internet Essentials by Comcast, access from AT&T, Consolidated Communications, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And don't forget about Frontier Communications. They also provide internet for our residents as well.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, the connectivity is going to be important. But, I also hear that, for TK, which are transitional kindergarten and kindergarten students, they're not necessarily they don't really need a Chromebook. And instead, they're going to be getting packets from their teachers, specially designed for them and for their grade levels. They're our youngest students. So connectivity is going to be important for grades 1 through 6, and then also grades 7 through 12. And then we have some other accommodations that we're making as well, depending on the student needs. So thank you, Sandeep. All right, let's transition just a little bit now. We talked a lot about today. We had Superintendent Hoffman talk about the plan and what he sees moving forward and what he's hopeful for. And we talked about the Chromebook checkout process. Let's hope we can get everything done in orderly fashion. It's going to be a little bumpy, of course. The drive-through, though, we've seen success with our food service program.
and we talked about internet connectivity. So it sounds like we're really gearing up. It sounds like we're really helping parents to get ready for distance learning. So let's go through the rundown of the schedule for distance learning. As you know, yes. So this week, this is our kind of our countdown, our launch countdown. This week, we're all doing distance learning preparation. Everybody's preparing. I'm preparing. You're preparing. And then next week, April 6th, is a non-instructional week. It's always been the traditional calendar's spring break, and we don't want to throw people off. You know, yes, district office has always been historically open and operational because we've always had schools in session during the traditional spring break time period. So that hasn't changed. We just noticed that it just won't be an instructional week. Starting April 13th through the 15th, there will be continued distance learning preparation. And then, bam, April 16th, that's our big day for secondary students to start their distance learning. And then right after that, again, bam, we have our elementary school students starting April 20th with distance learning. And the end of the school year is?
May 29th. I almost messed up, but it's May 29th, 2020.
Very good.
For all students. So that's anyone in elementary school, anyone in middle school, anyone in high school. The last day of school is the same for all of our students, which is May 29th.
Correct. Yeah, even if you've been on a year-round calendar in the past or the past year, everyone's going to be ending May 29th.
So Zanti, we don't want people to forget that we're going to have more information about a typical EGUSD distance learning student schedule and expectations. And we're also going to take a look around the district to see what teachers and students are doing during the study periods. And this is very exciting, Zanti. We also are going to highlight the March, which is Arts Education Month, but we're not going to be able to do it in March since, technically today's the last day, but we're very excited about launching it within the next couple weeks. We're going to launch an episode focused just on highlighting the arts that have been created for our big celebration that we originally planned to have, but we're going to move it online.
Oh, wonderful. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. So it's going to be fabulous. So we want to thank everyone for their support and patience during this time. We're trying to bring you daily communications just as we get information, and we're trying to make sure you get that as well. So pay attention to us. All the information in our letters are available at www.egusd.net, and you can just click on either the parent updates or go right into COVID-19. You'll see all the information there. And don't forget, remember to subscribe to our EGU News YouTube channel. Just click on the little bell sign, the little thing down below, subscribe.
Yes. And don't forget that we also need to do our part to slow the spread of COVID-19 and #stay at home. And pay attention to the state and county orders of stricter social distancing and practice self-isolation if symptomatic of the COVID-19 virus.
Thank you, Sandeep.
No problem, Zanti. I'm Sandeep Dosanjh.
And I'm Santi Pinkerton. Now let's toss it back over to you, Taylor.
Thanks for those updates, Santi and Sandeep.
Most people don't keep a schedule during quarantine to keep them occupied, often leaving people bored.
Here's how to create your own daily routine.
If you're bored at home and have nothing to do, try making a daily schedule. The first step is to prioritize. Write down everything you need to get done during your day. The second step is to write down all the people that need your help. The third step is to write down what you like to do for fun. step is to write down when you start and finish these tasks. The fifth step is to write down how long you helped the people who need you. The last step is to put everything together. I encourage you to make your own schedule at home. Reporting for TJTV, I'm Harpreet.
Thanks to Harpreet from Toby Johnson Middle School for the useful tutorial.
With all this time on their hands, people have a lot of time to spend with their pets.
Let's go to a report made by Kate and Lou to see more about what people are doing with their pets. Let's go back to Sandeep and Zanti from our communications department to learn more about state and county updates.
All right, so thank you, Nina. We did reach out today to the county and the state for an update, and they don't have one yet. I think they're planning them so that they're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so they can have accurate numbers throughout the week. So we're looking forward to an update tomorrow on Wednesday. Back to you.
Thanks again, Zanti and Sandeep, for those helpful updates.
Since we are temporarily away from school due to the pandemic, it is important to stay on top of learning and refreshing your knowledge.
Let's go to a report made by Ethan Ho and Pratha Magwala from Toby Johnson Middle School for a math moment on how to solve large square numbers ending in 5 in your head.
Do you want to impress your friends and do some math in your head faster than you can with the calculator? Today's math moment is about a very useful trick for squaring numbers that end with 5 in your head. First, we remove the 5 at the end of the number and take the number that remains. In this case, it is 4. Then we multiply by the next biggest number. In this case, it is 5. Lastly, we take the product and add on the number 25 to the end. This is the squared number. So 45 squared is 2025. But why does this work? We can imagine 45 squared as the area of a square with side length 45. We can cut the square into 4 sections with the lines making a square with side length 40, a square with side length 5, and 2 40 by 5 rectangles. This might not look like much, but let's see what happens when we rearrange the square. When we move over the rectangle on top to the side of the square, we get a big rectangle with side lengths 40 and 50. And we also have the small square with side lengths 5. The small square has area 25, and the big rectangle's area is 40 times 50, which is 2,000. And 2,000 plus 25 is 2,025. Notice how the 4 from 40 and the 5 from 50 multiply to make the 20 in 2,025, and the 25 from the small square makes it the 25 in 2025. The small square also makes it clear how the square of any number that ends in 5 will always end in 25. Now it's your turn. What is 65 squared? We'll give you 15 seconds to answer this math question. First, we take the 5 off to get 6. Then we multiply by the next biggest number, 7. Lastly, we take 42 and add 25 to the end. Our answer is 4,225. And that's today's math moment. If you want more practice using this trick, you can go to kahoot.it and enter the code on the screen now for a self-paced Kahoot.
Thanks, Ethan and Pratham. Now we can easily practice our math skills while staying safe at home.
And that's it for today's show.
We'll see you on the next episode of EGU News. I'm Taylor. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Nina. Until tomorrow, stay safe and take care.